they're not a bad boy because they like driving fast cars. They don't know how to deal with their own emotions. The bad boys are overrated, TBH.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Book BFFs, the show that celebrates wonderful people and the books they're inspired by. I'm your host, Jenny Valdez, and today I am here interviewing the lovely Santina Rizzi, and we're going to be discussing After by Anna Todd. How are you, girl?
I'm good. I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm so excited you chose this book. This is one of our first romance novels. So we're going to get into it. Clearly, the cover says it all. So it's going to get nice and juicy today.
I'm excited. No, Anna Todd is literally like my Tom Brady. So
that's insane.
I'm here to talk about the queen of all queens. Like, she's my Delulu inspiration. Like,
before we get into her and before we get into this book, I want to get into you.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves. I saw a video of you with a dress, putting it over your ears. I'm like, this girl has jokes on jokes.
What is that video?
I don't know.
My life is so chronically online. Like, I can't even keep track of like what's out there. My digital footprint is like disgusting. Like, I like post closing my eyes at this point. Nothing. I'm just born and raised in Miami, Cuban Italian, and I guess I don't know. I don't know how to describe myself. I'm just a delusional person who found themselves in social media.
A delusional person who found themselves in social media.
That's actually how you can describe most people in social media.
How did you blow up on social media?
In 2020, I did this. I was like really into fashion, right? Like, you're at home, you're bored. So I learned how to sew. And I was like making my own like upcycling, whatever. So I would do these series where I put together outfits, and I was copying like Pinterest, like really famous Pinterest photos. And one day I was like looking at all the photos, and I'm like, yo, this bitch is wearing like men's boxers and a crop top. Is this actually like an outfit, or is she just skinny? Like, why does this have like 5 million repins? And so I facetiously like made this video like, is it a fit or is she just skinny? And it blew up. And I started recreating like Kendall Jenner outfits, Hailey Bieber, Emma Chamberlain, like all these fashion icons that are like a size 00. And I was like, just basically redoing their outfits and being like, if it looks good on me, then maybe it's a good outfit. But if it doesn't, perhaps we just like it because they're skinny. So that's how I first blew up. And then after that, I was just like, I was working at this law firm because I was supposed to go to law school.
Wow, that's polar opposites.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm Delulu. Like, I don't know what happened. But I was working at this law firm. I have like immigrant parents. They always told me like, the only way you can succeed in this country is like law school, medical school, business executive, whatever, finance. So I was like, okay, I can read, I could write. Let me go to law school. So I was working as a legal intern. And I was doing these like get readies with me. And I was wearing like crop tops. I was basically wearing the outfit that I'm wearing today. So like dress pants, a crop top. And people were like, how the f haven't you been fired from this corporate firm?
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know. And whatever. I was working there for like a year and a half. I hated it. And my little legal friends were like, dude, you already have like 300,000 followers on TikTok. Like, you can do something with that. So I was like, you're right. I started applying to these social media like management positions. And then lo and behold, one day Dr. Miami had a listing, social media. It was social media personality. Like, he wasn't even looking for a manager. He was looking for someone to like be in his content as well as like create the content. And I sent him my TikTok. I wrote a cover letter. I got the job, and the rest is history.
Wow. So did you end up going to law school?
No. No, queen.
So what do your parents say now?
Oh my God. My mom literally like berated me for like a full year. She was like, whatever, you're just on this journey. Like, every day I would be drinking my coffee and just hearing like the morning guilt. Like, she's like, I can't believe my parents came to this country for this. Like, but you know, as soon as the TikTok started blowing up, she would be like, oh, you guys haven't heard of my daughter? Oh, you don't have TikTok, then you must not have a For You page because.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, mommy supporting now. I love it.
She's like cloud chaser. As soon as like the views hit a certain number, she was like, okay, this is fine. You can go to law school later.
Wow.
It's still on the agenda.
Wow.
It's just on the back burner for now.
I love it. I'm glad she's on board now though. So what made you choose After by Anna Todd?
Okay. This is deep, deep like lore. Like to understand this book, you can't just read, you can't pick this up at Target and then just expect to understand why I chose this book. Let's talk about Anna Todd. The year is 2012. Okay. I'm in a Catholic private school and we hear about this app called Wattpad. And it's like the first kind of platform to democratize like writing. Because before that, you kind of had to be a writer, like it's kind of hard. It's like there's like gatekeeping.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a process.
You have to write, you have to send in your like to publications and they most of the time turn you down, But this app, you could write and like go viral. In the same way that you can go viral on TikTok, you could go viral on this app.
Wow.
So 2012, One Direction is still like, yes, One Direction, Justin Bieber, like they're at their prime at this point. And people have been writing fan fictions, like these stories involving the members, And Anna Todd writes this beautiful work of art about Harry Styles and this girl named Tessa. And all like, I don't know if you read the book.
Yeah.
So like in the book, she had to change his name to Harden.
Yeah, Harden.
Liam is Landon now. But like it had all the members. It had Harry Styles' family members. Like everything was there. And the nice thing about Wattpad was like the chapters would come out like on a daily basis and you could comment on them. So like you were almost helping Anna Todd write the story.
So it's very interactive.
Yeah. So you'd be like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, like Stephanie, that. And then the next chapter would be like a chapter on Stephanie. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like she really took like the input of the people who commented. So it was an interactive.
Wow.
And Anna Todd was like, I don't even know how old she was, but she must have been like in her early 20s. And her husband is like in the military. So she was just like this bored housewife who like loved One Direction a little too much. And look at where she got.
Whoa, that's insane.
Right? She's my Delulu queen. This is what I'm saying. She's like my Tom Brady. Because like, how the between like doing the dishes and laundry, you're like fantasizing about these men who are just like not age appropriate for you at this point.
Which, I mean, her husband was in the military, so she had a lot of alone time.
That's what I'm saying.
Kind of makes sense.
She's just on there like cranking out in chapters day by day by day by day. She released like 4 or 5 books. Like these have sequels.
Well, I know. I first found out about this book because of Netflix.
Yes. So then it turns into a Netflix series, and then it was like it was like winning the Super Bowl for like all the people who read fan fiction, because they're like, oh my God, like something that we read, like this smut that we read when we were 12 years old just became a Netflix movie. Like this is crazy.
So do you think that's why the fan base is so big?
Yeah. And it's also like, it started from a One Direction fan base, which is already super like, One Direction fans are scary.
Yeah, I didn't know that this started from a One Direction fan base. And number 2, fun fact, my first music video ever was a One Direction music video to the best song ever. Yes.
You were in that music video?
Yes.
Shut the f up.
That was my first video ever after high school.
Way.
Yes, girl. Yes.
You're in the best song ever?
Yes. I'm in the background like hitting a little move or two.
No.
Yes, girl.
No, because like this is the move.
That's what I'm telling you.
The little rowboat.
Yeah. You see me in a red t-shirt in the back.
That's crazy. You just became my Tom Brady.
I will take that compared to Tom Brady any day.
I'm dead.
Even though I'm not a Patriots fan when he was there, but anywho. This book, what's really interesting is the romance part of it, right? Like obviously it's a romance novel. Have you ever had a Harden in your life?
Oh my God. Like yes and no, because like Harden is like a bad person. So I definitely had like a bad toxic like relationship, but they end up working out, and my
did it?
I guess my Harden didn't work out. This is like terrible for me to have read when I was like 12 or 13, because this is like your first idea of romance, right? The guy who you for a bit.
Wow. I didn't even think of the time that you started reading this at that
it's really
age.
bad. And also like the smut, like why was I reading that? I was reading that in my Catholic school, like during church hours. I was on my iPad, like
Heading the book.
But yeah, definitely. But I think it's not that different from like most, even like the renowned, like critically acclaimed romance novels kind of teach you that love from a man has to be bad at first. Like look at Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice. Like those men hated them, like, or at least acted like they hated them. So I mean, I could judge Anna Todd for that trope, but she's just looking at the greats. You know what I mean?
So how do you view love?
Oh my God.
In a romantic relationship. How do you view love in a romantic relationship?
I feel like it should be like being with your friend. Like, I don't think it should be a struggle. I thought it should be, you know? Like that's what people conflate, like struggle with passion. Like they think like if they're fighting all the time, it's because they really like them and it's like a passionate relationship. But I don't think so. Like you shouldn't be like stressed out all day. Your cortisol levels like to f***ing here because of the person you're dating.
But have you dated somebody like that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. We've all been there. We've all done that.
Okay, so let me tell you. When I went to FSU for college, and I grew up like fat, right? And when you're like fat, you have to develop a personality for people to find you like for people to want to talk to you. So and then senior year of high school, I lost a bunch of weight, and I, basically looked like this. I'm not gonna say, well, yeah, I'm hot.
You are hot. Say it again. I'm hot.
So I basically started to look like this. And when I got to college, like the first guy to give me attention, I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Because growing up, it's like all the guys I would speak to, I was like their bro. You know what I mean? Like whatever. So I get to college. I see this guy one day in my dorm. He's like friends with my suite mate. I'm like, oh, he's so cute. Da-da-da-da. And like to my surprise, he told my suite mate that he was like, oh, she's cute. Like, can I have her Snapchat? Which was red flag number 1, lady. Like, if a man has Snapchat, run.
Run the opposite direction.
No, like sprint. Like run for your lives. I didn't even have Snapchat. Like I had to re-download it.
Just to talk to him?
Just to talk to him, which is like,
wow.
That should have been red flag 1. Wow. And it's very similar to after because look, she met Harden. Or Harry.
Well, Harden, but yes.
Harden, officially. He like filed a restraining order against Anna Todd, I think.
Really?
Something like that. Yeah, Harry Styles.
Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, this is insane. This book is many layers.
Yeah, she met Harden through her roommate, Stephanie. I met this guy through my suite mate. Both of their names are redacted because I can't stand them.
You had your ventures.
Yeah.
College things.
That was just a really bad relationship. That was like Harden, he had a deep secret. At least Harden was like, he did a little bet skis. He took a little money, but the feelings were real.
Yeah.
My ex-boyfriend had a whole other girlfriend from high school the whole time. I had no idea.
Wow. But you got out of that and now you learn from it.
Yes, it's true.
You see, that's the thing with relationships that I find interesting. Sometimes we wonder, well, why was I in that relationship? Or this person did this to me. But number one, to some degree, we have to take responsibility to the things that we allow in the relationship.
For sure.
And secondly, cool, it happened, but what was the lesson here so this doesn't repeat itself?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a lot of relationships. We get caught up in these cycles, right? So I feel like with them, they were caught up in this cycle, but luckily it's a book and it worked out for them. But in those cycles, you have to know when to be like, I'm out.
Right.
Or there's something here. And sometimes with love does come struggle. With love does come pain. Polar opposites do exist, but it's not who am I in love with? Who am I willing to struggle with?
Yeah. But I also feel like the struggle has to be like if you're struggling from the very beginning, that's like a sign that
correct,
it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because whatever, this guy, at first I wasn't dating him. It was just kind of like a situationship. And in between like these years, I saw someone else. And it was kind of like the Zed. Like, Zed is Zayn for everyone listening. Zayn Malik.
Put everybody on game. Put everybody on game, girl.
Yeah. Also, like, the way she wrote the characters in the book, like the boys from the band, are so not their personalities. Because, like, if you think of Zayn Malik, you kind of think, like, they called him, like, the Bradford bad boy. Like, you know, he's, like, tough. And now we found out that he may or may not hit Yolanda Hadid.
You're teaching me all this right now.
Oh
like,
my
I feel like you are
God.
such a big One Direction fan. Like, you're teaching me. Keep it
No,
going.
literally. Okay, so Zayn Malik was with Gigi Hadid, do you remember?
Okay, yes.
And they had a baby. And then they split up. And, like, somewhere between the split up and whatever, he apparently hit Yolanda Hadid. But if you know anything about Yolanda Hadid, she probably deserved to get hit. Okay, I digress. So in this book, Zayn is like the good guy for Tessa. Do you remember? Like, she goes off with him, but she doesn't feel the passion, so she goes back to this like kid, whatever. And then Harry Styles is like super, like in real life, very like calm, very like nice,
Laid back.
Not like, yeah. And then in this book, he's like tattooed,
Bad
piercings,
boy.
like
Yeah.
fucking girls left and right, has a alcohol problem, whatever. In between dating this guy, I dated another guy. And the relationship was so simple. Like, he would say, let's meet up on Tuesday and get dinner. And at Tuesday, he would say, let's meet up at 5 o'clock. He would be at my house at 4:59. He would pick me up. He would drop me off. We never fought. Like, I never had to like question what he was doing, who he was with. The same to me, like, neither of us were like big texters. We didn't like, it was like such a simple like relationship. And I was like, no, I'm not into this. I was like, this is not it. Like, and like looking back, it's not that I wasn't into him. It's that I was conflating like struggle with passion. I was like, oh, because I'm not struggling with him, like I don't actually like him,
Right.
which is not true.
And does peace feel like boredom to you?
It did. I feel
At
like
the time.
now it doesn't. Now, like, that's the only thing I look for. Like, not just in relationships, but like my life. Like, to me, it's like, if it's easier for me to Uber Eats a Starbucks and pay like 2 times the price just to have like the peace of not getting up, going in the car, like I'll do it. Like, now my one goal in life is peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel that's a big thing with young love, you know,
Yeah.
when you're younger and you're growing up, and depending on your household too, because sometimes you see certain traits in the household and you duplicate that because that's what you think love is,
Right.
until you start getting older and you start having a mind of your own and you're like, wait, I don't really like getting talked to like this, or I don't like these looks, or I don't like these fights that we're having, and you realize you don't need to be in those situations. But it's interesting how you went from your first relationship that basically you were manipulated in and
Yeah.
didn't know what you were getting yourself into, but you learned, to a peaceful relationship where you're like, wait, this is complete opposite. I don't think I like this. Where do you find yourself now?
I mean, now I'm just chilling. I'm 23. Like, I'm kind of, I don't want to say the prime of my career, because definitely I would like for things to be better. You know, I always want better, but like, I'm really just focusing on myself. Like, I want to buy a house.
Yes.
I'm saving money. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just really in my career mode.
Yeah.
I'm like Tessa when she started working at the publishing company.
Yes. But she was willing to let go of everything to focus on her and what she wanted
Right.
to get done and what she wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
So
And then she let him back in. Tessa's a fool, by the way. Like, if you're listening to this and you like read the book, like, don't be like Tessa. Like, that is dumb.
Yeah.
She is, because how are we gonna get to a 5th book and she's still f***ing with the same dumbass guy? Like, come on.
It's a book.
I feel you. But like,
But there are people out there that still 10, 15 years are still in cycles and don't know how to get out.
that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. I used to be one of those people. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah,
Not to this degree though.
No, this
but
degree
in a
is
different
crazy.
in a different level of cyclical relationships where it's just like there's so much comfort and so much understanding of the person that you think, oh well, like this is it because we just know each other. And sometimes knowing your love isn't enough. When you talk about building a life with somebody, sharing kids, building a house, a family, it's a completely different kind of relationship than hey, we're in high school, college, let's have some fun.
Right. I
You
also
know?
feel like a lot of the times with like the cyclical relationships, there's like this one, like you, whatever, there's like the fight. But like once you get back together, once you resolve like that short period, you get like this, like,
It's a rush.
like this dopamine
Yeah.
response where you're like, oh, like I need this again. Like my life feels back together. Da-da-da. So you're like constantly chasing that.
Yeah, it's a dopamine rush. You
Yeah.
fight to make up, and then that's what your hormone levels are literally up and down, and you
Yeah.
equate that to passion or love, and it's
Right.
just like, no, you need to get yourself out of that situation. You know?
Life is so much better like at peace.
Yes.
Like literally, my friends would like the guy, whatever. It must have been a 2.5 year, like up and down, whatever. And he started dating someone like almost immediately after. And my friends were like, oh my God, look, da-da-da-da. Like, are you jealous? I'm like, jealous. I feel bad for her. Like, I'm like, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Like, I wish I could like reach out to her and be like, girl, don't do it. But like, I'm like, I can't feel jealous. Like, that was like the worst time in my life. And I really
Yeah.
hope that like he's doing better.
Good. Yeah, you outgrew that.
Yeah.
What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on a date?
Oh my God. I honestly, like, I haven't gone on a lot of dates because, this fucking guy, like the harden of my life, like, mind you, did not take me on one date. Like, not one fucking date. Another red flag. So I can't even, that was 2 years of my life. I can't even look for a date there. So first I went on a date with like a British guy and I had to like convince him. First of all, he like asked me to pick him up and I was like, whoa, okay, I guess. Because he was from the UK or something, so he didn't have a car here. So I was like, fine. And he like walked out of the house in slides. And I had to like convince him, like plead with him to put on shoes. And I'm like, this date is not like going past tonight, but whatever. Oh my God. Wait, actually the last date I went on was with this guy and everything that could have gone wrong, like went wrong. Like it was like embarrassing. Like, first of all, he asked me, it was like our first date and he asked me to go to a movie. How do you feel about a movie as a first date?
Negative Nancy.
No, it's like, why would you take me here? Do you hate me? Like,
No, he's just trying to get to all the bases real quick, girl.
like, did you just like invite me to your movie day like alone? Like, why the am I here? So we go to the movies and
But noted, you did say yes. See, you
did-
could have said no. So you can't put all the culpa on él.
okay, that's true. But
You can't put all the blame on him.
my
Spanish real
this
quick.
guy was like pursuing me for for years. He was having a conversation alone in my DMs. Like literally, like I would just ignore him. One day I posted a story like ask me anything, da-da-da, and he's like, what is it gonna take for like to go on a date with you? And I said something like Venmo me as a joke. And then like 6 months later, he asked me out again. And like, I don't know, I guess I finally said yes. And he like brought it up. He was like, dude, I Venmo'd you like 6 months ago. And I didn't even have Venmo. So I was like, what? No, you didn't. And he's like, yes, I did. I like downloaded Venmo. He had Venmo'd me like $50 like
What?
6 months previous. So I'm like, okay, like whatever. This guy is nice. So then he asked me to go to the movies and something came out. It was also Harry Styles related. Like a new movie had just come out. And it was a Harry Styles movie. And I was like, okay, like he knows I love Harry Styles. Like he's taking me to see this Harry Styles movie. But no, he took me to see Smile. Did you see that movie?
No, I did not. I don't even know what it's about.
It's like a horror movie, which I
Okay.
told him like,
Oh.
I don't like scary movies. Like I don't with that. Like I think it's like really bad energy. Like I don't want that in
Yeah.
my life. So he took me to see Smile. And like the entire time in the movie theater, like every time there was like a scary scene, like he would scream or like he would jump. He would be like,
And you're like,
he was like, ah! I was like, oh my God. And he like kept doing it like over and over and over. And at one point I like grabbed his hand and I was like, if you scream like one more time, like you're gonna give me the ick and I'm gonna have to leave.
the ick, not the
You took me to this scary movie and I feel like I have to comfort you. Like this
Yeah.
is not cute. So and then he was like, okay. So then he like resorted to just like covering his eyes during
And
the scary
going.
parts. And I'm like, I just went on a date with like a 6-year-old girl. And then I had just gotten my hair blown out that day and it was like pouring rain and he parked like across the street and like my blowout was just up. And then and then the shitty movie, which I thought he would he was like, it's a surprise. So he never told me what the movie was until we were in the theater. And then the scary movie came on. So I was like, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. We walk across the street to like the parking lot, and he f***ed up like the ticket to get his car out. So we couldn't get his car out, and we were stuck in the parking lot for like 2 hours.
Wow.
And I was going to Europe the next day, and I need to pack or something like that. So I was like, strike 4.
And you're like, out, that's it. He shouldn't let him get past strike 3.
I was like, what the all right, I might have skipped one. That might have been strike 3. But I was just like, what kind of I literally told him, I was like, I'm like, logistically, like, this was a really bad date. Like, just logistically, like, you're a great guy, but this date was terrible.
So he didn't get a second date?
No.
Okay. Listen, you gotta know what you like and know what you don't like. That's fine. That's part of the process.
We're chill though. We're chill.
What's the best relationship advice you would give somebody?
I think like sometimes you don't want to tell your friends things about your relationship, or you don't want to talk about your relationship to people because you don't want like bad energy. But I also think sometimes that will keep you in a bad situation. Like if you're keeping everything to yourself, if you're not running it by other people, you're like in an echo chamber of like your own thoughts and this person. So the best relationship advice is like, talk to your friends. Tell your friends about the person you're dating. If your friends are not like,
what's the fine line between oversharing and telling them enough to help you with the situation? It ain't easy.
It's just, you have to like find a person in your life who you know is not going to judge you, and basically just tell them everything. Because obviously like you could have like that one hater friend that like you tell them, oh, he brought me a book and it was green instead of orange, which he knows is my favorite color. And she's like, yeah, him, he's disgusting. He shouldn't be with you. Da, 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 da. You know, you could have that one hater friend. But like, if you feel like something's wrong in your relationship, like don't keep it to yourself. I feel like that's my advice. Cause
got it.
You almost feel like that. Also, that leads to like, you can be like so easily manipulated when you're alone.
For sure.
Like when you're telling other people, like, do you know Hello Teffy on TikTok?
No.
Oh, she's the best.
You're putting us on game here,
guys. She's the best. She made a video the other day saying that like when she was ready to leave a bad relationship, she would tell her friends everything about the person. Like while she was in the relationship, while she wanted to continue to struggle with this person, she would keep everything to herself because she knew that the moment she told her friends, they would be like, hell no.
Yeah.
They wouldn't physically stop her, but they would give her if she went back to him. They would side-eye her if, like,
of course, that energy's already off.
Right, like if she left the function early to go meet up with him, they'd be like, really?
Yeah, girl, we've all been there.
And like you could disappoint yourself until the end of time, but how long are you going to disappoint your friends? Like how long are you going to disappoint your family, your mom, da-da-da? Right. So that would be my relationship advice.
There's a line that says, girls want a bad boy to be good for them, and boys want a good girl to be bad for them.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
She said, ew, yeah, I agree.
I don't know if I definitely like agree that generally speaking that's like a rule, but the bad boys are overrated, TBH.
Ooh, explain.
No, because I feel like the bad boy, like what it manifests, the behaviors that come with that are just like, they're not well adjusted to life. Like they're just like, they don't know how to deal with their own emotions. They probably should book like a therapy session. Like they're not a bad boy because they like driving fast cars. Like they're a bad boy because they want to manipulate you. And that's probably, you know, like it's like overrated. Like, I don't know. Like Harden, like what made him a bad boy? Not the fact that he had tattoos. It was the fact that
he was an alcoholic,
right.
You know, always a loose cannon, his temper. There's a lot of elements to his characteristics that were just through the roof.
Yeah.
But then the manipulation tactic of he had moments of apologizing.
I know, it's the worst. That's the worst.
Of explaining his childhood and why he acts out in certain ways.
Right.
And so when somebody is vulnerable and opens up to you in that element, as a woman, you're like, well, I see a side of him that maybe nobody else has. And we as nurturers, I want to take care.
Right.
So Tessa, being the nurturer, was like, I want to take care of him. I want to show him that he can be better.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, I would be reading the book at like 12 or 13. And anytime Tessa would put her foot down with him, be like, I'm not talking to him. I'd be like, Tessa, you dumb, go back to him. Like, I would be the one telling her to go back to him. But like, as an adult reading this book, I'm like, if Tessa wanted to baby someone, like wipe their ass, hug them every time they cry, like she could have just had a baby. I don't read this book for the contents of it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
like I probably read this book like 10 times over. Like, I'm not f***ing with you. Like, it was like a hobby to read this book. But it's just like the time. Like when it's like all about nostalgia. Like the time of my life when I was reading this book. Like the One Direction era. Like iPads were just becoming a thing. Like social media was just becoming a thing. Like I read it and I'm not so much like enthralled by the story, but by like the time it was written.
Understood. It takes you back to that moment in time.
I'm like, that was such an era. Like,
yeah.
we don't have, like, Wattpad is still around, but like people don't use it like that anymore.
Right. And when you reread it, do you interpret different things the older you get from when you were a preteen that read it?
Yeah, I guess. I guess when I read it now, I'm like, wow, they like really should not be together. It reminds me of 50 Shades of Grey. Do you want to know why? Not because of the contents of the book, but because 50 Shades of Grey was also a fan fiction. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
50 Shades of Grey, I was gonna say this is like the best selling fan fiction ever, but it's not. 50 Shades of Grey is.
Wow.
50 Shades of Grey is a fan fiction of Twilight. Did you know that?
I did not know this. These are all these fun facts.
And Twilight was inspired by the band My Chemical Romance.
Never even heard of them. I didn't know that.
And My Chemical Romance got together because of 9/11. So they always talk about, like online, people always talk about the 9/11 to fan fiction, like,
wow,
railroad.
If there's one thing you can take from the book that you've applied in your life, what would it be?
I want to be Delulu like Anna Todd.
So can we be expecting a book from you soon?
No book. Guys, no book.
Maybe. Okay, so we're going to get into a fun little game.
Oh, okay.
All right. We have a nice little question jar here. So I'm going to pull out 3 questions from here. I don't know what's in here. So I'm reading this the first time with you.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
Dun, 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 dun.
You're like, my heart's racing. I'm nervous.
What's the question?
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I feel like this is like a common question. I don't have an answer. I would want to like fly.
Fly.
Yeah,
so your superpower would be flying.
Yeah. Fly is a good one. Like,
I know.
someone's trying to stab you, you fly.
I know that's where your mind goes. I'm getting set. Fly.
Like,
all right.
You could just fly out of any situation.
If you could instantly learn any talent or skill, what would it be and why?
Oh my God. I would love to speak. I found this girl on TikTok the other day. She speaks like 8 languages.
Ooh, okay.
That would be the best.
Why?
Because then you understand everyone. I don't know.
That is a pretty cool skill.
Yeah.
Speaking different languages.
I can't stand when someone's speaking like a language that I don't understand. I get so mad. I'm like, oh, they're talking. Like automatically, I'm like, they're talking. Because in Miami, if someone starts speaking a different language around you, it's because they're trying to talk.
You're side-eyeing.
Yeah.
You pick up on body language though. Body language can't get picked up on.
That's true.
All right. If you could attend any sporting event or concert in history, which one would it be?
Oh. I was going to be like, I was at the One Direction concert.
Okay, the One Direction concert. Let's go. But you're like, it already happened.
What's the name of the concert? It was like Queen's last concert. It was to raise like money for like HIV awareness.
Live Aid.
Yeah, that concert.
All right, one more question. Because I'm just feeling, why not? All right.
Dun, yeah, that was more than 3.
If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future?
Oh my God, how scary would it be if you tried to time travel to like the year 2040 and you didn't exist? Like the like the machine was like error.
You have not made it this far in life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so depressing.
I know. That would be up. I guess I would go back in time then. Even though like I don't think things were that great back then. Like I'm not trying to. People are always like, I always see these girls on TikTok. They're like, I want to go back to the 1920s. I'm like, do you know what it was like to be a woman in the 1920s? Like, why would you want to be in any other time? I would go to like when like King Henry VIII.
Gotcha.
Like
so you would time travel to the past to something you haven't experienced yet, but was in the past.
Yeah. Definitely not in my
Okay.
life. I will go like see King Henry VIII behead like his third wife. I would bring them the science too. I would be like, you have the XY chromosomes. I'd be like, you're the one determining their gender.
I love it. So loose.
I would bring the science, and then they would like behead him, and Anne Boleyn would live. I don't know.
And you'd just be there as the observer.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for being here. You are a beautiful soul with lots of spice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jenny. I had fun. This is a really cool idea for our podcast.
Yeah.
You really can learn a lot about a person by the book they choose. Also, when I was invited, I was like, I felt really bad about myself because I'm like, I haven't read a book and like, I haven't read words like in the last 10 years. I was like, the fact that I have to choose this book because I have no other book that I've read is so sad.
But this book has influenced you in your dating life and in your romantic relationships of knowing what you don't want anymore because now you're not a preteen.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
You could find me on TikTok under San Rizzo. You can find me on Instagram, Santina X Rizzi. I should like make all of my handles the same, but they're not. You can find me on Dr. Miami's TikTok page.
Cool.
You could find me on this podcast. And you can find me wandering the streets of Miami.
Yes, wandering the streets of Miami. So there you have it, San Rizzo. We just finished wrapping our episode discussing After by Anna Todd. If you want to get your copy today, make sure to click the link in the description below. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know your favorite part of this episode. Turn the page, and we'll see you in the next one. Shout out to our sponsor, Local Cold Brew Coffee.